Let's have a chat, everybody. Let's have a conversation. Just a stream of consciousness, thinking out loud. And we'll see if this makes an interesting video. If I feel like it's good enough to upload, I will. I want to talk about where we are now culturally and how we got here. And not some existential way. Like, I really want to make it as simple as possible. Because I feel like the writing's been on the wall for a while when it comes to channels like Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker, Geeks and Gamers, all of this. It's the writing's been on the wall for a while. You guys know, with myself and the Showcast and all those guys, we've been talking about this for a minute. So there's no big sort of mystery on the foundation of this kind of content, which is sort of tied back to, you know, Ghostbusters, Star Wars, Gamergate. It all sort of goes together. And it's literally gaming the algorithm. We know they make money off of it. And that's essentially why this whole system exists. But I want to take a look, or at least talk about, the people, the communities surrounding these channels. I've had the pleasure of meeting some guys who have been smart enough to get out of this. Like, they understand what it is, and they've been very helpful for me in understanding how people find this content and how they become connected to this, why they feel compelled to be a part of this. In some way. I mean, obviously, there are some people that are going to have different reasons for going to these channels, but ultimately, it's about being given a purpose. Feeling like you belong to something because you find these guys and these guys tell you, like, everyone hates you. Hollywood hates you. Star Wars hates you. Marvel hates you. Disney hates you. Like, it's this very almost like brutal, visceral thing where they tell you that everything is against you and they give you a purpose, and that purpose is to be a part of their community and thus generate revenue for them, line their pockets with ads and super chats and plushies and whatever merchandise they have. So ultimately, their reasons, Nerdrotic and Critical Dream, we've talked about this, the material harm is the same, so I don't give a fuck what the reason is, but it's most likely money for most of these guys. But the guys, the ones that follow these folks, the ignorant people that don't see it for what it is, they have been compelled to be a part of this because they feel left out. And instead of these guys giving them a positive community to be a part of, they have, like, basically slathered them in all of this negativity about everything. And then you have people who were totally comfortable doing whatever they were doing before, not bothering anybody, having no problems with anyone, getting pulled into this. I was one of those guys. I got pulled into this. Quick backstory on me. I run 2 YouTube channels pretty much regularly. My other channel, Eric's Reloaded, which is my bigger channel, more subs, been around a lot longer, kind of just talking about pop culture, primarily DC and Marvel. I was over there making videos about She-Hulk. And all of a sudden, I was getting people from this community coming into my comment section, regurgitating comments from these guys. I'm minding my business, running my channel, having a good time, great community. And here I am having to deal with this in my live streams, in my comment section. It's crazy. So they're coming over and they're harassing me. So I feel compelled to say something back. That is literally why I started this channel. That was the catalyst for me starting this channel, was that I was minding my fucking business, doing my content. So you can't tell me that these guys don't cultivate harassment. They do. That's why I'm sitting here right now on camera talking about this. These guys had fans coming over and harassing me, repeating the stuff they're saying, citing these channels in my comment section. So I decided to start making videos about it. DEI would not exist if there was not a reason for it. If it wasn't necessary, it would not exist. Hollywood was full of people who were not diverse. That's a fact. That is a fact. The vast majority of people in Hollywood, mathematically, are white cisgendered men. Even now, that's the majority of people in Hollywood. So this concept that they're being overtaken by diversity is false. It's a lie. It's not real. But they've convinced the people that follow them that it is a problem, because we're starting to see more people from diverse backgrounds represented in media. And that is happening because we do have spaces where DEI is there, where it's present. Is it always going to be 100% a home run? No, but that shouldn't be the standard. I've talked about this before. The standard of offering opportunities should not be that opportunity has to be a 10 out of 10. There's much more room for error when it comes to straight, white, cisgendered men, because there's so many of them. So there's massive amounts of failures from that community, but nobody bats an eye at it because it's saturated the community. But if a woman or a queer person or a person of color makes content, it is over scrutinized. The bar is set so high for that because they are afforded opportunities to do that, that if they don't come out swinging 10 out of 10, perfect score every single time, then these guys would make it seem like it's a waste. And they've cultivated this in their community. And now we've reached a point where I just saw earlier today, David, I think it was David Zaslav, somebody is associated with Warner Brothers, is happy to have J.K. Rowling involved with the Harry Potter reboot. Happy for that. So we have somebody that has harassed the fuck out of trans people, even gone to the point of legality, in their government, trying to oppress trans people. And they're happy to have her on board. I guess these guys should be happy. They should be happy because pretty soon we got to deal with this for at least 4 years, maybe 2, depending on how things happen in the system. But at least for the next 2 years, they're probably going to get a lot of concessions from people. They're probably going to get a lot of concessions. So they should be happy, but that doesn't make them money. It doesn't make them money to talk positively about stuff. We've seen this from Jeremy and Geeks and Gamers, other people associated with these guys. Jeremy, the Quartering. There's other channels associated with them where they try to do positive content. Doesn't work for them. Because the people that follow them have been told to be miserable. So they have to be miserable. So even as the tide shifts culturally outside of this space, these guys will not start praising Disney. They're not going to start praising Marvel. Even when Disney came in, swooped in, and told Marvel that Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, an episode with a trans character that already been done, already made, ready to go, it's not going to air, right? They will still not love Disney. They're not going to ever give Disney flowers for that. For anything they do moving forward, it's not going to happen. Doesn't matter. So we are where we are in culture because these guys have successfully convinced a chunk of our community, of our fandom, that everyone hates them, everyone is against them, they have radicalized them, they've mobilized them, and then they went out and started harassing people who weren't bothering them at all. Harassing actors for taking roles, harassing writers for being involved with stuff, directors. This isn't normal behavior. It's not normal stuff, man. It's not. And a lot of guys would say, well, Eric, why can't we go back to the 90s where everybody got along? Apparently in that era. Well, a good start to that would be these guys shutting the fuck up. That would be a good start. If these channels went away tomorrow, if that happened, we wouldn't be dealing with the stuff we're dealing with. Not in the fandoms. Star Wars would be a lot more fun. Marvel would be a lot more fun. We could go back to arguing who wins, Superman or the Hulk. Remember we used to argue about that stuff? Remember when that was the argument? Who's stronger, Superman or the Hulk? How many people can Batman defeat? What's your favorite obscure character? I remember days when I would log into YouTube and those are the kinds of videos I would see at the top of the algorithm. Now it's this shit. It's this garbage content. This well-produced shit content. And YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, they're all complicit to this stuff. They've allowed it to thrive in this ecosystem to the point where now they can't control it. They can't stop it. They've allowed people like Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic to grow large enough on their platform despite breaking various terms of service guidelines. They've allowed them to grow where even if they were to be deplatformed on YouTube at this point, they would find other places to go. There's other shitholes. Kick, Rumble, Twitter. There's other shitholes for them to go to. So they've allowed this to happen. YouTube's not innocent in this either. YouTube's not innocent. Elon and Twitter's not innocent. Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, not innocent. Twitch, not innocent. They'll ban someone and then 3 days later they'll let them back on because they need the money. I think the big thing as I'm thinking about this is capitalism. The idea of incentivizing making money at all cost. The concept of you have to be the worst version of yourself and you have to cultivate the worst people to follow you in order to be successful on YouTube, in order to be successful on Twitter, on Facebook. It's the incentivization of that for me. So I look around and I'm like, what's the point anymore of being a fan of anything? What's the point of loving anything anymore? Nothing means anything with these guys. They don't even have to watch the content they're critiquing. Critical Drinker has made videos where he admits that he hasn't seen something. Everybody still follows his words. That's crazy. That's full on crazy. Melanie Mack has done it. Ryan Cannell's done it. Az has done it. There's lots of people that do that. And we've reached a point where these guys are supplemental to the content that they're complaining about. They're supplemental to it because they have their minions, their ignorant followers, so convinced that they know what they're talking about that they don't even have to watch or consume the content that they're criticizing. That's just crazy. That's just crazy. You know, I think that if YouTube had sort of enforced their terms of service much earlier, which by the way, people would say, well, if they're breaking the guidelines, they'd be gone. Well, we already know that's bullshit too. Channels like Hypnotic, and I'm going to use him as an example, had one of his live stream taken down because it was reported. I don't know if it happened like right away or when it happened. I don't know. I didn't even watch the whole thing. I saw all the clips from it, but it was reported by a bunch of people, I guess. And YouTube looked at it and realized it was in violation. It got taken down from his channel. And then he went on subsequent live streams and videos and said that those things happen all the time on his shows. Apparently, the racist guy on his show is racist, sexist, and bigoted all the time, which by the way, Hypnotic calls his memberships the bigot army. So he has that happening on his channel all the time. He's admitted that these guidelines have been broken in the past and YouTube still hasn't done anything about it. And then he went on video and said he doesn't care if he gets removed from YouTube, he'll just go somewhere else. And that's the truth, just like with any of these guys. But the thing is, YouTube does not enforce its terms of service. Not equally, definitely not equally. So these guys have broken guidelines in the past. They've had content taken down. They've had streams taken down. Nerdrotic had someone pull out their cock on stream, show it off on YouTube for almost 20, 30 seconds. And YouTube didn't do anything about it. They were able to remove it from the stream. YouTube still didn't do anything about it. But if anybody else did something like that, their channel would be gone. So they get special treatment? Is that the DEI of YouTube? I don't know. I have no fucking clue. But it's crazy. The whole thing is crazy. So that's why we are where we are. Platforms not being, not following through in their own terms of service. people knowingly breaking the rules. They know they're doing it, and they continue to do it because they want to game the system. But then when other people who want diversity and inclusivity and all that in the entertainment industry, when they quote unquote game the system, like these guys, there's something wrong with that. But when they do it, when they break the rules, it's cool as long as they don't get caught, right? That's the thing. As long as they don't get caught. That's essentially why we are where we are, because a bunch of people in the fandom have been convinced because of their own insecurities. Shout out to Chariot for using that term earlier in the stream. But they're insecure, and they've been given purpose by these guys, and that purpose is to feel like everyone's against them, and because of that, to lash out and go out into the world and be the worst possible version of yourself. It's a fucked up place to be.